What's up, guys? In this video series, I'm going to be taking you through my workflow and how it's structured. It's going to be every stage of the process from graphic composition, thumbnails, all the way to the final rendering. So I'm going to show you how I go from an image like this and turn it into something like this. If you guys like the content, just make sure you subscribe and turn your notifications on. It helps out a lot and it gets my channel out there a little bit more. Thanks for watching, guys. So before I get started, I'm just going to explain what I'm going to be talking about a little bit. This is a process of how I create graphic thumbnails. It's just black and white sketches in order to establish compositions for the environments that I do. Kind of like the first stage. And from here, we'll go into 3D and then back into painting on top of the 3D renders. But this is like the first starting stage that I go to. So starting out, just get like a dark gray tone and try to start separating the foreground, background, and midground layers. So as I go backwards in space, I will increase the value just to create depth of the environment. For this environment, I wanted to do like a sci-fi building, maybe like a research facility in the mountains. Wanted to do like a snowy environment and just contrast like really hard shapes with a rounder shape at the focal point. Doing like contrasting shapes like that will help draw the eye to whatever focal area you have established. But I'm really just, I'll lay down some strokes, try to keep it really graphic, and then I'll carve into it with the eraser tool. Here I am just adding the mountains just to create depth, add a background, and separate the midground and background layers. Adding some clouds in, making sure to keep zooming out so I can see like the overall read. Now I'm just cleaning up the silhouette of the shape that I've created. Just using the eraser tool to cut out and add in some smaller details. Now here I'm starting to add like a darker tone on the midground. It's kind of just like carving out some shadow shapes just to help establish the form a little better. Still adding more details. Just getting an overall idea of the shapes that will go on the inside of the silhouette. Just creating separations. These shadows are not necessarily going to represent the final lighting, but it just gets an idea of what the shapes will look like on the inside of the silhouette. Wanted to do like multiple layers, kind of like disc shaped layers that are stacked on top of each other. Here soon I'll start adding a little bit of lighting on top of the silhouette shape. And once the lighting is added, that'll really help pop the focal point out and direct the viewer's eye to what I really want them to look at in the image. These thumbnails take around like 30 minutes to do. So it's really a quick process just to get ideas down. And I can run through, 4, 5, 6 in a couple of hours and really get an idea of what I want my final image to look like. Here I am adding the lighting, just clipping a layer on top of the silhouette and then just adding some lighter color, lighter value. And these light shapes really help direct the eye. Here in a second, right here, you'll see me adding shapes with the custom shape tool, which I'll do a separate video on how to create custom shapes. But being able to add those shapes in and just immediately add more detail and into like your different ground planes and background layers, it just helps make the piece come together a lot quicker. Instead of individually going in and painting all those little details, I can just drag a shape onto it and it's already done like that. Still making minor adjustments to this silhouette. Here I am painting in a little bit of snow on the foreground rock. Trying to keep the value still pretty low, because this area of the image is still going to be in shadow. So even though you have white snow, it's not going to be super light in value. Here's another shape, custom shape tool usage. Just coming in and adding a little bit of lighting. That lighting is helping also direct the eye back into the image. Creating like diagonals and leading lines in your composition is really important to just direct the viewer into whatever you want them to see. Keeping areas of contrast, high contrast, is really important, and creating a focal point. Here, I think I was just adding a couple smaller, like tertiary details. I think this was going to be like a generator or something of the sort. Adding like smaller objects like this in the scene can also help to build scale. I don't think I added a character in the sketch, but if I were to add a character into the sketch as well, that also helps give the viewer a sense of scale to really see how big this structure is. Details like this aren't really necessary for the overall graphic read of the image. I probably could have left this part out and just moved on to the next one, but sometimes you get a little bit lost in the process. I think this one's almost done. Adding a little bit of shadows to the clouds. Always making sure to check like my navigator, the small image, for the graphic read. Adding a little bit of gradient on multiply, just to kind of box in the values into the center of the image. Adding a bit of occlusion shadows. Yeah, so that one's it. I'm going to now show the next 3 that I created for this series. They're going to be time lapse, but it's the exact same process. I just create layers with different values, and as it goes back in space, I will lighten the value, and then normally in the midground where the focal point is where I'm going to start adding the most detail and lighting, just to create a focal point in the image that directs the viewer. So I always try to keep that in mind. But yeah, the next 3 ones will just be playing on a time lapse, and hopefully you guys enjoy it. So here's all 4 sketches put together into one image. I try to keep it simple, follow the same steps in every single one. I try to use a little bit of different shape languages just to switch it up and add variation. Some of them do look better than the others, in my opinion. I think I rendered a couple of them out to like a more detailed state, but all in all, I think they look pretty decent. I think the first one was my favorite, followed by number 3. But the number 1 composition is the one I ended up taking to the final 3D and painting it and polishing it up. So I hope you guys could learn something from the process. If you have any questions, just leave a comment. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys.